Okay, so it looks like it's working. But if I go to add display, see what happens. I feel like the stream crashed or something. Oh, looks good. This has been so fucking weird. Alright, I'm just glad it's working. Okay, fuck it, let's go. Okay, I'm gonna do this for like 30. I'm not gonna do this too long, unless people actually join. But I don't think we'll get that. I'm just awake. I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm awake waiting for, I guess, to start work. Man, I drank a bit last night too. We'll do this, and then we'll just look at some basic JavaScript. No, let's not even do basic JavaScript interview questions. See if we can find something and just hack on whatever. Oh man, this is like... These questions are terrible. Need some more questions. I want like JavaScript problems to solve. What are the main rules of promises? Interesting. How to empty an array in JavaScript. Why wouldn't you just set it to an empty array if it's a var? Let's see what they do. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. But we might go to like a website specifically for this. I think I've looked at this. This is what I looked at last time. Oops. Okay. This is just everything. I wonder what their HTML questions are. Just curious. Is this valid? See this good. Is this valid? Well, I've never seen a picture. I don't even know if this is an actual element. Or now it'd just be like a random semantic. I have no fucking idea. Oh, look at that. This is what I'm talking about. This is pretty serious HTML. This is, I don't know this off the top. Accessibility, main element. Yeah. Semantic elements. Who the fuck uses this? Age group. Alright. Home. View, specifically view questions. Is there React questions? That might be cool. These will be stupid. These will be fun. Ooh, it's old. Yep. don't know if these questions get you. I mean, do I want to just go through and answer these? I don't know if that's worth doing. Why do we need to pass a function to set state? Like this, what are React mixins? This is from like 2012, 2013. No, way later than that, 2014, 15. These are old, man. Is there, unless, okay, these are long as fuck. This is long as shit. I'm wondering, oh, never mind. I'm guessing that it's sequentially ordered. Like as questions got added, they just got added down, so you can see them getting more modern. That's interesting. You can actually see the questions getting more modern as you go down. How to add Bootstrap to a React application. Is it recommended to use CSS? Like this is weird. Recommended by whom? How to fetch data with React hooks. Oh, they're going to have a use effect with an empty array as the second argument. That's the answer to this question. Hey, there it is. Although, yeah, that's fine. Yep, that works. Hey, even their key is right. href. Yep, that's fine. Although, actually, it's weird. This is kind of weird. Why wouldn't you just... Oh, yeah. Set data must be... Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I wonder what they... Yeah, what do they say? Why do we use array destructuring in use state? See, here's the thing, though. Why can't you... I don't think this is a good answer, and honestly, the reason we use array destructuring in set state is because that's what React tells you to do in the docs. And they thought about how to make the API. They could have done it as an object with a value and a setter, and then you would rename it when you destructure the object. But with array destruction, you don't have to do the reassignment. That's the idea. Why would this be like? This is the kind of thing that I work with someone now who's like the best, one of the best front end, one of the best software developers I've ever worked with, maybe the best. Dude's been working forever. He knows everything front end. He's unreal. So fucking smart. He wouldn't be able to answer this question. What is Formic? Like this dude is like one of the smartest people I've ever worked with. One of the best engineers I've ever worked with. Maybe the best. He didn't know how to answer this. He would have no idea. So you're not going to hire him because of that or any of this shit. It's really interesting. I think that this is like changing. I'm not sure. I believe this is correct. It's definitely mostly correct, but I think there might be some experimental shit out there. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I can answer almost every one of these questions. Most of them for sure. What is a React Fiber? Does that even exist anymore? How to make an AJAX request in Redux. Do it in middleware. You don't have to use Thunk. You could write your own. It's actually easy to write your own. The only thing that Thunk does is it lets you return an async function or something. I mean, it is middleware. To access a Redux store, this should say in a React application specifically. and this is old, you can use hooks now, so you don't have to use the higher order component pattern. Fuck this. I want like something I could write some code for. Okay. The Fibonacci numbered one is really, this was one of my first questions at an interview was this. One of my first interviews. Remove duplicate members, merge two sorted arrays, reverse a string, verify where to, I mean, these are all like very basic. You should be able to answer these after, you should be able to do all these after like 1 or 2 months of learning JavaScript. Missing numbers from unsorted array of integers, especially because there's no big O notation stuff. These get a little tougher. What are the possible values for this? What is debounce? How can you implement debounce? This is a tough one that I think people would get wrong because you confuse it with throttling, but it works differently. How would you communicate with a server? I mean, come on, explain a promise to your grandmother. This is actually a really good question in JavaScript. For website, this is such a fun question too. Any of these open-ended ones are really fun. And I've been thinking a lot about front-end performance lately. What I think is really interesting about front-end performance is that you're often thinking of it in terms of like, how can we paint to the browser faster? Well, that's not, no, let me think about that. It's really about how can we like make network calls faster, but you can't do that. You have to get creative. And what I'm leading into is that one of the really interesting ways for speeding up a website is through prefetching. And the basic idea is if you go to, like if I go to a YouTube and I search for like NBA, let's just say, oh shit, I search for the NBA. You get a list of all this stuff back when you search, and then it shows up on the screen, and then I'll like click on another thing, and now we're loading that thing. It loads really fucking fast. This is, I wonder if they are prefetching or something because it's so fucking fast. YouTube as a cloud, pretty fucking incredible. Anyway, one of the interesting things you could do if you have a slow website like this is you can eagerly prefetch data for stuff. So if I'm building a website that has a search feature and it returns a list of like relevant results, I might decide that the first 2 or 3 results are so likely to be clicked on that what I can do is I can start assuming that they're going to click on it right when this page loads and start loading the next page, so that when I do click on like this, everything's already loaded. Issues with that are you're making extra requests for data that you might not need, i.e. if somebody searches for this and then scrolls past it or doesn't click on any of these, but it's really not that big of a deal. I think the idea of prefetching data is really interesting, and it's also something that React is working on. These documentations for what React Suspense is really interesting. It's probably where we're going. I'm surprised that I wonder if coronavirus had something to do with this. Probably not. I thought that this year was going to be the year that Suspense was going to be like released officially, and not as an experimental feature. And this has like, it's such a cool thing. Like I think reading through these documents, you learn so much, and they really tell you like what the core problem that they're trying to solve is really, really interesting shit. I'm not sure why it's still an experimental feature. The reason that they say is because they're just not certain on the pattern and all the internals and shit like that, and the API might change. But um, I think it's a really fucking cool feature. I think prefetching in general is really, really interesting. I think that you can do that here. I think that that's what this is about. I don't. Yeah, I guess maybe not. Maybe this isn't really for prefetching. It's not coupled data. Maybe it is. I don't know too much about this, to be honest. I'm revealing my ignorance, but as I talk about how good this article is, that I haven't. I read this so long ago, I can't really remember. But this is so like I think the React docs and the blog is like such a fucking cool. They do a really good job on it. You learn a ton from reading this stuff. But Next.js, which is a server-side React server-side rendering framework with React, is this shit's really cool. Anyway, their router has prefetching in it. This is on time map. So should name that. Yeah. Anyway, I think prefetching is it's interesting, and I haven't really implemented it in a meaningful way, and I think fun to look into. Other than that, for improving, what were the other questions? If a website is slow, see what is that? I don't know what that means. Like on the front end or on the back end. If the API calls are slow, then you can either prefetch or you can change how the back end works. You can't from client side code make a server respond more quickly. If a website is slow for performance reasons, then I mean it depends on you gotta look at what's happening. Could be a million things worth changing. Probably want to limit re-renders if you're just rendering too much shit, or move to some sort of pagination if you're like rendering a list of like 10,000 items. Virtualization is really interesting too for that. So if you have like a list of, so you have a list of like 10,000 items and you want to put them all on, you don't want to paginate for whatever reason, you want to put them all in one window and make it scrollable. You really, it's, if you put 10,000 items into a list and you just render that onto a page, if it's like 10,000 items, it's going to be slow as fuck. Slower computers, like mobile devices, can have trouble, especially if like something is happening whereby that list is changing. Anytime you might like, if you can delete an item from the list and everything has to like re-render. But this library is very intelligent. What it does is, and there's a few of them, it's a concept called virtualization. The idea is you have like a list inside of a scrollable box. You're only rendering the items that are like visible on the list. So you have a list of 100,000 items. You're not rendering all of them. You're only rendering the 6 or the 7 that you want. And then as you're scrolling, like this library will handle the removing of the now invisible items and shit like that. It's a really cool library, really cool idea. Let's see, is there any difference between window and document? Yes. There is. But I can't really, I don't know the full answer to that, but it is. Attributes similar to property, there is a difference here. These are like really nitty. There's a difference between these two, but kind of it's like small and pedantic. Document download and window download fire at the same time? Probably not, but I have no idea. What are the different ways to get an element from the DOM? Query selector all. Get element by ID. Get element by class. I mean, there's a million. What is the fastest way to select elements by using CSS selectors? I think you have to use I think classes. Like, isn't IDs are bad for this? I can't remember why that is. How come I can't use for each or similar array methods on a node list because it's not an array? You use like array.from to convert it into an array, and then you can do your shit. If I need to implement get element by attribute, how would you implement it? Oh, that's fun. That's more fun. Let's see if we can find. Okay, so if I wanted to find, say, all of the elements with an array hidden of true, we can just do, let's go here, attribute, just be something like this. Oh, we need the attribute and the value. I think, because it would be, for this, it'd be what, like, I don't know it off the top. Is this it? Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So all we do here is a little string replacement. Bang. So now if I do get element by attribute, and I could say alright, hidden. There we go. What if I did this still work? Yeah. And if I just did random characters, I'm assuming nothing. Yeah, cool. How would you add a class to an element? Then you could just class list.push. Verify whether one element is a child of another. This is tough because you can't get a parent. I mean, you can do this. This is not that hard. What is the best way to create a DOM element? Set inner HTML. I would not use set inner HTML to create a DOM element if it's reliant in any way on user input. Because then you just kind of gave a possible cross-site scripting vulnerability. Possibly. It depends. If it's not based on user input, probably doesn't matter. There might be performance implications here. And I think that inner HTML is probably faster than create element. Create document fragment, never heard of it, I have no fucking idea. What is reflow? Who the fuck knows? What is repaint? I mean, this is just re-rendering something. How would you make sure to run some JavaScript when DOM is ready? That's a good one. You can do window.onload or whatever. They said that before. There's an onload. Event listener. What is the event bubble? Blah, blah, blah. How does events flow in the DOM? This is about like propagation and shit, which I don't fully understand. Or there's like rules to it that I don't totally get. How would you destroy multiple list items with one click handle? I mean, this is just boring. How do I create a button that is destroyed by clicking in it, but two new pages? This is intermediate? Oh no, it's just DOM stuff. How would you capture all? Just add an event listener. If you have the text in the current web page, are there answers here? Because I can tell you how I would do it, but you would grab every element on the page and then grab every text content from those elements. Defer async. Script tags. Ugh, blah blah blah. Okay, let's see if we can find more shit. What is the output? Bullshit. Let's do something like this. at some of these. Just look at some questions. I don't know how I'm going to work today. I'm so fucking tired. I'm tired every day, though. Let's see. I'll log in through GitHub. Oh, cool. Oh, shit. Wrong thing. Fuck. You can get my one-time password here. You should never give these out. Ever. Okay. This is the kind of thing where I go into this and then I get stuck on the first one and look like a fool. Well, let's see what we got here. Oh god, this is gonna be... I just have like no desire circle numbers. Yeah, phone call. It's math. I don't like this coin system maker I can say. Oh, hey, this will be... Oh, I can't do that. Create an array? Really? Why is it in Ruby? I think that I wonder if I could just switch it to JavaScript and do it in that. Really? Oh, this is what? Some splice bullshit? Array replace is so fucking... Well, fuck it. What if we just did... I wonder if we could just do this. Elm to replace is a number in the tests. Put array elm to, so replace the first. Yeah, so this we're going to subtract 1 from this. Are we okay? So we're okay. We have to return the array though. Can we mutate it? Doesn't say we can't. Substitution elm. Well, fuck. Oh, wait. This is not the position. This is saying replace all instances. Okay. Never mind. Let's do that again. So let's say for L of input array, if L lm to replace, then see if that works. Let's see if I can get some console logs here. Or we can just do this in, let's do this. Okay. Okay. I don't know if we can do this. This might be the issue. L equals. See, it is reassigning here, but this reassignment, this is the issue. This reassignment doesn't work. So let's do fucking for each. Oh, we can just map. Why don't we just map this? Yeah. That's the way to do it. I don't need the fucking. There we go. Shit. I think this will work. I want something a little harder, but I feel like if I get challenged too much, I'm just going to give up right now. Let's see. The loop tunnel. I don't like. I hate it. Math. And also, like a lot of these things, like I feel like there's only so far you can take these until you get to a point where you're just like becomes about being clever in performance and that kind of shit, and not about problem solving. Like these are fun and they're it's good to do these. Um, you learn a lot about JavaScript, and then it is applicable to real life shit. But generally speaking, working on like real projects is better than doing this kind of stuff. Reversing an array can be a tough task, especially for a novice. Programmer, Mary just started coding, so she'd like to start with something basic first. Instead of reversing the array entirely, she wants to swap its first and last elements. I mean, same thing. This is a map. Something like this. What? So let's see. So the first item is returning fine. It's there we go. Mm. I'm not even looking at this. Let's just see. Oh wait. Array.concat is not a function. Okay. This won't work right here. This is, I mean, we'll see, but there it should say. Well, let's see. What are the guaranteed constants? I feel like this will pass for some, but if there's an object in here, it doesn't deep clone basically. This won't deep clone, so I'm assuming that they're gonna have a test that'll fail somewhere. Oh, never mind. Okay. Well, that shouldn't work. I'll get well. Oh man, that's dangerous. If you're here's the issue with that. So if we do what we just did here, the spread operator. So this will work for primitives. One, two, and then if I did 3, 4, we should see 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Although why isn't it? Oh right, we didn't actually do the. Okay, right. So this works fine. The issue would be if I have this. Okay. So let's say get 2 of these. Okay. And if I do, if I concatenate these two, let's do it like this. Obj 2. Okay. Now console.log x right here. Okay. So it looks fine, right? We concatenated these two objects that are inside of these arrays, and no problem. The issue is that this is it's not a deep clone. So what that means is if I go to reassign, like if you go into this thinking that concat r has now created a completely fresh and new array, and these objects are like their own thing, you're going to run into some trouble because the array is actually not filled with copies of these objects, but references to these objects themselves. So what that means is if I go to reassign x0 dot blah dot name, and if I say, let's log this first, this will be Dave. Okay, so if I said now that This is going to be something else. Now if I console.log x, you'll see the name changed. But what's weird is if I also console.log obj here, the name changes here too. So the issue is we haven't created a new, we've concatenated these things, but they're still referencing the same objects they were before. And this is like this is one of those things that leads to like silent bugs because there's no error happening here. It's just unexpected behavior. So what you really want to do for something like this is a deep clone. And if you, it's fun to do on your own. We can actually do it here. If you wanted to implement some kind of deep cloning in an actual project, you probably don't want to do it yourself. You'd rather use I would rather just use something like Lodash personally, and I think that other people should too. The reason for that is because if you go off writing your own deep clone function, firstly, it may look different. It may not be like the convention. It may just have a weird feel to it, like the API might be kind of unusual. Two, you're not gonna, unless you write the docs yourself, you're not gonna have documentation, whereas in Lodash, this is documented. So I can go to Lodash, look at the docs, play around with it, see its usage, see many examples. I know it's tested. I know it's been used millions of times. So I prefer Lodash for something like this. But if you were to write it yourself, let's call this deep array clone. And we want A and B for arrays. And we're not going to do, we're just going to assume that there are objects here. And we need to do a deep clone. So the first thing we have to do is essentially recursively copy over the object. So we need create new obj, and we'll just say obj or something. And the way we do this is you have to create a new object here, and then you iterate through the keys in obj. I wonder if I've done this. I probably have, but so we have to do a for key in obj, and then the value of the object is going to be obj key. And we want to say if the value is an object or an array, or just an object, because an array is an object, then we need to deep clone it. So how do we, I guess, how do you tell if an object, if a value is an object? I don't know if the top array is object. This is not a thing. They're saying is array. Good Lord. Oh, type of, duh. Yeah, ugh. If type of value is an object, oh, then we need to do this. Oh no. We need to do recursively creating a new object, and then we need to put that into this. I might be a little too cloudy brain to do this right now, but let's see. So if we have an object, then we're going to do this again, new object. But when do we say? Okay. I think that here we would just do new obj key equals this, else here. Otherwise, we're going to do new obj. Key is just the value. Return new obj. Okay, so let's see if that even works. So if I do create new obj, oh, we have two. Yeah, okay. This is going to get confusing. Oh wait, no. If type of value. Nice. Yeah, we got a infinite loop here. New obj. Something's a little fucked up here. So if the type of the value is an object, yeah, we can't. If you pass in just the plain object, it's not going to work. Value. Okay. So it should look the same. Okay, so now if I do y.name equals blah again, but if I go to console.log obj here and y, there it is. So we need to do y dot blah dot name. There we go. Well, okay, I thought I lost everything for a second. All right, so this is kind of showing what I'm talking about here. We created these two objects, obj and obj2, and then when we go to, we concatenate these two with this concat r function, and this is just using spread operator, which is doing shallow cloning, as I mentioned before. So when I go to change the first item in the arrays, blah.name, and notice it's nested. That does matter. I won't, okay, I'm not too sure about that, but when I reassign here, we change both x and the reference or the original object too, which is not what we want to do. And we can do this by just doing that. I don't know why it's not logging, but okay. And essentially this is showing that the object here that's getting passed in is the same as this here, even though we're like doing our spread operator and creating something new. So the solution then would be to do some kind of a deep clone here. So to do that, we first need a way to create a new object from an existing object. We can also call, actually this should be like deep clone. Oh, not deep cloned. Deep clone. So to deep clone, we have to make a new object here, and then we're just going to go over every key inside of the object getting passed in here. We're going to get the value of the value of that property, and then the first thing we do here is we're checking to see if the value is an object, because if it's an object, we can't just assign. We need to get a new object. So what we're doing here is we are essentially running the same function again. So there's like a bit of recursion here, and we are like unfurling the object. And so by doing this, like that first level of stuff gets cloned, but the deep stuff doesn't. So this is like unpacking stuff and then just running it over and over again. And if the value of the new object, this should just be value. Or should it? Oh, okay, new option, never mind. I don't know what I was thinking there. But if it's not an object, if it's a primitive value, then we can just set it, because that won't be the reference. That'll be a new instance. And so now, now we can do, let's call this deep object clone. And then here we'll do a deep array clone. That's two. Deep array cat. And this is going to be pretty similar. So we have a new R here, I guess. We'll just do this. And then we have to iterate. We'd iterate over A. Or maybe we do a shallow clone and then another one. Well, I guess it really doesn't. There's a million ways to do this, but this is sort of key to the whole thing. Anyway, I gotta go to work in a bit. What's the duration on this thing? 15 minutes. So that seems fair. I don't think anybody. I don't think I got any hits. But I am done. I'm going to eat some breakfast. I'll go back tomorrow.